everyone, Trienne here. Welcome back to the Be That Create That Leadership channel. I'm so excited that we are restarting these interviews for the second season of the podcast, Be That Create That. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Amazon. You can find us on through Audible. But I have my special guest with me today. One of the things that you have to love about socials is the fact that we are so far apart from many of the people that we get to meet on these platforms. However, in one conversation, you find out that you have so much more in common, whether it's energies, backgrounds, philosophies, ideas. And I think that that's what makes these interviews so special. So whether you're joining us from YouTube through the podcast or through the Facebook group, I'm really excited to go ahead and bring on Chanté Dent with us today. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Trienne. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and share with us today, how you got started in your business and what it is that you do to bring your impact into the world.
I got started in my business due to the natural progression of my life.
Don't we all?
And I love the way it flows because I started out helping women heal from emotional trauma tied into sexual assault. And that transitioned to helping people in this area of emotional intelligence, positive psychology, psychological safety. And it's a beautiful combination of being able to live it, experience, walk it out for myself, and transfer that content and those resources to clients. So it's coaching, it's workshops that just allow people to elevate their lifestyle by becoming a more well-rounded individual emotionally, really.
Mm-hmm. That's so beautiful. And I know we talked a little bit about different workshops that you've done and offers that you have in your coaching. So how did you decide what you were going to offer and, how has that come to fruition for you?
The first step was initially fine-tuning my own work for my life. What's working? What isn't working? And when I stepped back and look how everything unfolded, of course, I thought for sure I'm not the only one. I'm not the only woman facing this. I'm not the only one who struggled in that area. So that was the basis of wanting to launch very specific products that I felt would help women navigate through life, whatever role they are in, whatever hat they wear. There's a program that's going to help you in that particular area. And by default, and I imagine you can attest to this, naturally, when you're having conversations with individuals or where you're listening and you're in tune and you can kind of see behind the words that are coming out of their mouths, you're able to capture the essence of their struggle. And I love to connect with people. And so it is heartbreaking when I hear people share and feel hopeless, feel as if they'll never heal, they'll never evolve. They feel stuck. There's not a solution to this problem I'm facing. And that's heartbreaking to hear and observe. And so it ignited that fire. Let's get a program that's available, very realistic, approachable concept that's going to help women normalize what they're experiencing, validate those processes, and then give them tips, tools, and tangible steps, action steps that they can implement and begin to transform and see the change they desire.
Yeah, when I am working with somebody, it's that gap is in the middle. We can all talk about what's missing. We can all talk about what we should do. But, one thing I learned from my coach a long time ago is intention without action means nothing. It gets you nowhere, right? So being able to give them action steps and saying, these are our milestones. These are the things that we're going to do, and seeing them move through those. Oh my gosh, that is a beautiful thing.
It is. It is.
Good. So when you get the chance or the opportunity to work with somebody, obviously it's probably kind of a difficult conversation to get started. So one of the things that I noticed about you and I shared with you today is, I love your kind of calming energy. That's probably something that's really helpful in your line of coaching, right?
It is. I do have probably what brings joy to my heart more than anything is simply what you said, being able to connect with individuals because of this ability to be approachable and not hear what they're going through and have a judgmental aura because judgment doesn't always come from your words. It can come from your face expressions. So I've learned, again, through my own experiences, I know what it feels like to share intimate, hurtful, emotionally sensitive situations and experiences, and then have someone respond in a way that makes me feel bad for even going through what I was going through. And I realized nothing good comes from that. So it definitely comes from treating individuals the way I believe I would want to be treated, the way I believe they would want to be treated as well when it comes to working through a hard situation. And if you think about it, when people have their guard up, which naturally we often tend to have a guard up, it's going to be difficult breaking through that barrier if there's an aggressiveness, or I'm the one who knows everything, so bring me your problem and I'll solve it, or I'm better than you. And so you little poor little thing, what are you going through? Let's figure it out. I want individuals to feel safe, emotionally safe and comfortable. And I believe I'm pretty relatable. Again, I've been through some things. I know what it feels like to be on that other side. And I believe that's what transpires with the work that I do.
Sure. And you shared with me earlier, you're working with people specifically to feel like they have become a more emotionally healthy person. So where does that transformation where does it start?
Yeah. First step, even if it's redundant, let's talk about what you're going through. Let's talk about what really bothers you. And we're going to try to understand those pain points in detail. We know you showed up for a reason, but let's talk about it. And here's why I like that first step, because often we talk a lot about what we're going through, yet we're not heard. We're not validated. So I want to sit and allow you this space to be free, to complain, to be frustrated, to be mad, to feel hopeful or hopeless. Get it out, the real raw you. That's the first step. Let's identify and acknowledge what's really going on. And what I love about the process of conversations, coaching, is we have this beautiful, incredible opportunity to allow this individual to identify their strength, even in the midst of this difficult situation that they're experiencing, where they're not sure if there's another way out or if there's an opportunity for them to experience freedom, emotional freedom. We have this opportunity to identify their strength. Let's use those strengths to catapult you. Let's use those strengths to get you cross over to the other side, to that place you desire to be, and paint this picture. Now, I also love to use realistic experiences. What are you going through right now that's causing a few challenges and difficulties? Let's paint a few scenarios, desired outcomes. So giving them an opportunity to think and dream big without limitations is one of the, I think, healthiest starts and the ways to progress.
I love that you bring up, what are your strengths and how can we use those to get through what you're going through? Because in leadership for a long time, we always heard, what are your strengths? What are your opportunities or your weaknesses? And it always struck me like, yes, I have my strengths, and yes, I want to work on those opportunities. But it's almost been traded a little bit, where people have been like, okay, whatever you're strong in, let's double down on that. Let's work on that. And that is what you are really supporting this team with. And then your opportunities or those weaknesses, we can come back to it. It's fine. But then it doesn't become this full focus of that you're just never enough. So I love that in this, to make someone feel more emotionally healthy, one of the first things you're suggesting is, what's your strength? What are you already good at?
Yes, and you made a great point as well, Trienne, because naturally we will focus on our weaknesses. I tell you one thing, nobody really has to point those out to me. I know them. I know them well. But a lot of times when we're complimenting individuals or giving them the opportunity to talk about what works for them, that brightens them up. It lifts their countenance. Like, I am good at that. Wow, you're absolutely right. That gives them, I believe, fuel to get through that process of working through the difficult areas as that leader. And what I think is even more incredible when it comes to focusing on our strengths, we can use those strengths to leverage us in growing in those areas of weakness, because I feel that if we can connect the dots and paint this beautiful picture of what we want our lives to look like, how are we going to get there? And yes, use outside resources, but also pull from within, pull from your gifts, your talents, and your skills, and allow those highlights of your life, of your person, to work for you.
Yeah, because as soon as we can look at those strengths, I think, we have this boost of confidence, almost like what came first, the skill set or your confidence? Well, you have the confidence to build the skill set. So that belief in yourself is so important. And I don't think that people put enough value to that. So when you decided that you were like, I'm gonna go into coaching and I'm gonna take some of these life experiences, and I know you have a couple things resource wise that you have available to offer to the community. So what are some things that you feel like you would want to share with them?
I feel that what's important as a leader is understanding how to communicate with individuals. And a lot of our communication style comes from our experiences, comes from what we've observed in our upbringing in different career environments. But it's important because regardless of the situation, the subject matter, the team initiative, having to conduct a one-on-one session because one of your direct reports isn't, isn't performing as they should. If you're able to communicate well, you can turn a daunting conversation into an empowering conversation. You can bring correction to your team, and you can bring order into your organization in a way that gets everyone excited and eager to jump on board, simply because of the way you choose to communicate.
I love that. The influence that we have without even realizing, between the tone in our voice, the body language, those nonverbals. It's probably one of the, I feel like, most underutilized and underseen or undervalued skills, is to really be self-aware and pay attention to how your energy can dictate a meeting. It can dictate a conversation. Getting the opportunity to communicate with somebody who is actually open to communication and being able to alter your tone a little bit. One of the things that we share in coaching as well is, what is the tone that you brought to the conversation? If you're coming to someone and you're saying, why did you do that? Sounds so different than, can you tell me about your ideas? Can you give me an example of, why you felt like that was the right thing to do? Coming with more of a supportive tone. And it can be a game changer in communication.
It truly can. And just as we spoke recently about strengths, can you imagine conducting a one-on-one session, and there are areas of improvement, but everyone isn't equipped or ready to hear that news. So why not begin that conversation honoring them and praising them and highlighting them for the value they bring to the team, to the organization. Commend them for the work they are doing. And when it comes to any sense of correction, your correction can come from a place of encouragement. Because I want you to succeed in your role and beyond, because I know you possess the ability and the potential to increase, and you fill in the blanks. And they walk away being corrected in a respectful manner. They walk away hopefully inspired to achieve a greater level of success. And there can be a win-win situation when you're having those difficult conversations with people.
Now, are you working mostly with individuals, or have you worked with corporate workshops as well?
My private practice is individuals. Corporate workshops I do through an incredible company, BlueEQ. Love to increase and expand those services. BlueEQ is incredible because we have an opportunity to work with companies and teams and teach them how to lead with emotional intelligence, how to lead with psychological safety. And it's a game changer for teams, a game changer for organizations.
It really is. Once everybody gets on that level of just that personal respect and understanding, it can make a big difference in teams' results.
Yes, it does.
So speaking of results, you are a very successful coach. I love that you're taking some experiences from your past to be able to help people in their now. When you think about something that helps you be very successful, what is something that you do throughout your day, or maybe as a non-negotiable for you, that provides that?
2 words come to mind. Release and receive. And I have to find a way on a daily basis. And typically it's twofold: release and receive. Release in a sense of whatever I'm experiencing internally. If it's negative, I need to release it. A lot of times that happens through journaling. Release it. Don't keep it in here. Don't keep it up here in your mind, in your heart. Release it. Let it out. Work through it. Even and then on what is working. What am I excited about right now? What am I looking forward to? Release that with words, with a smile, whatever that looks like. Just be in that moment of thankfulness. Like, oh, I can't wait for that to manifest. This is great. I'm looking forward to it. That's my release. And then receive, that comes from reading the Bible. What do I need to receive to get me in this place of stability? It comes from listening to a podcast like yours. It comes from hearing a message on YouTube, or having a conversation with my husband, with my children, with a friend, a confidant, a mentor, a coach. It manifests differently every day, but that's the goal. What do I need to release today? Anything negative, anything positive? And usually there's something in both categories.
Yes, there is.
Always something in the positive that's required. What do I need to release today? Have a moment of thanksgiving and gratefulness. I love to sing. That's another way I release. That's another way I receive. Listen to songs that enlighten me and uplift me. Release and receive.
That's beautiful. Yes. I love both of that. I know, ingratitude is our greatest form of receiving. So as you say, I'm so thankful and grateful for whatever the thing is, even if you don't have it yet and you put it in present tense. That almost takes that anxiety of the need or the want. And it's like, it's already done.
It is.
It's already done. And I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and put your website up, and I'll make sure that gets into the show notes as well for everyone. What kind of things will people find through your website as they'd like to connect with you a little bit more?
So visiting my website will allow you, of course, to see the various coaching programs that I offer. And one of my favorite pages is really just allowing you to hear my perspective on different subjects. There's a place where you're able to hear different podcasts, interviews, just to understand my take on life and business and leadership and motherhood. So visiting that website, of course, will allow you to stay connected with me as well.
Okay, wonderful. And I'll make sure that I get those in the show notes for everybody, no matter where you are watching or listening. Those will be available as well. And thank you so much for being on with us today and what you shared. I think people are becoming more and more open to becoming an emotionally healthy person, understanding that they can share the way they're feeling, and that not only is it okay, but it's incredibly important. So I'm really glad that we were able to talk about that today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Trienne. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. All right, everybody, we will see you on the next show. Thanks so much for joining us today.